NUMSA is not participating in today's march. The union's General Secretary Irvin Jim joins me in studio now. Thanks so much for your time on SABC News. NUMSA said the march is desperation and your members won't be part of it. Take us through why.
Well, I think we should be on record that the South African state since 1994 has been captured, has been owned and controlled by the dominant class in this country, which is white monopoly capital. If we were having Cosatu making demands and the rest of everybody else within the Liberation Alliance, the proper demands to be made is that we need to nationalize key commanding heights of the economy in this country. We need to transform minerals, energy, and finance complex. Unfortunately, that's not what this march is about. This march is a march as a result of two fighting capitalist factions, one that is represented by Cyril Ramaphosa and the one that is running around with Zuma with corruption. And in our view, we think that we have fooled workers in the past. The ANC has failed to change the structure of South African economy and affirm black were the majority into the economy and change power relations in society. We think that that's a fundamental issue. Secondly, Cyril Ramaphosa, who's being marketed through this march, basically is the one who is putting into law where poor workers, setting a terrible precedent of 3,520 rand an hour instead of giving workers 12,500 because those martyrs of Marikana died demanding 12,500 national minimum wage. Cosatu is not taking up that particular campaign. Secondly, we know, for instance, if Cosatu was serious about jobs, the simplest demand we should be making to deal with this cronyism and corruption, especially in SOEs, is that all SOEs boards must be changed and civil society, trade union, business, government must sit in those boards so that they can be transparent around procurement, and we use procurement to champion localization to create jobs. That's not what this march is about. Surely this march is about those who are in the alliance who feel very threatened by what they do not know in December. This is a march to book a ticket for leaders of Cosatu and SACP who want to get their position in parliament next year, and they think that Cyril Ramaphosa will deliver that.
Let's talk about, you've spoken quite about the broader issues and what needs to happen in terms of transformation. If we look at South Africa currently, very slow growth, 2.5%, record unemployment numbers, 27.7% of South Africans at least are unemployed. As NUMSA, what would you propose as solutions that are day-to-day, not the sweeping ones you've proposed? And secondly, have you engaged with business on the so-called investment strike where we're seeing about 700 billion rand not being spent and not being used to boost the economy and move us forward?
I think we know what needs to be done. We need a state that must intervene in the economy. The state must be the employer of the last resort. We need a state that champion a clear state-led agricultural sector. The issue I was raising about the boards. Secondly, capital is not going to deliver to the state if the state, in our view, is not decisive in terms of moving away from gear and the NDP that has failed us. We know what needs to be done. We need to increase tariffs so that we protect the current capacity for manufacturing. We need to bring back capital controls so that we stop money to leave this country, both legal and illegal in terms of capital flights. We need to cut interest rates. I mean, the fact that the Reserve Bank is allowed to insulate itself, they should have cut interest rates. Now, they didn't do that. So we need the Reserve Bank to basically stop its hot pursuit of inflation targeting and target jobs and cut interest rates. By so doing, you will be on a path to stimulate the economy.
When we've spoken to employers, especially in big companies, when we speak about the need for jobs and revitalizing the economy, they've often said unions are a problem because with such slow growth and with the many economic challenges that we face, they cannot afford the rates you're talking about, the 12,500 you raised earlier. They are struggling to bring money in, therefore they're going to struggle even more if they pay the wages that unions want.
First, we don't need permission from the bosses. Government that is elected democratically must be decisive and ban labor brokers, must make sure that they pay a living wage. And we're not saying just decide to declare all companies this is what they are going to pay. Those companies can be made to open up their books. We can see what turnover they're making, which companies can afford. And I can tell you that we just settled negotiations now. We didn't go on a strike because we can read the balance of forces in terms of the state of the economy. Our members were not happy, but we said it's okay, but we will sacrifice for now. But for us, we think that what this government need to do is to be decisive. I mean, there are conservative employers who basically believe in super exploitation of black and African labor. That should not be tolerated. For instance, in all our sectors, if we negotiated a deal where a company cannot afford, we've been able to say, open up those books, let's see. If a company indeed cannot be able to pay, we give them exemptions.
Thank you very much for your time on SABC News. General Secretary of NUMSA, Irvin Jim, joining us in studio there. We go back to our report.